So, good evening to all. Today, let us welcome Nikita, and let me introduce her basically. And just give me 1 minute. So, let me share my screen. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. So, Nikita basically she is working with the EY, and the 2021 her test score was, you can see the test score. CPA exam regulation, she scored 97, CPA exam BC 96, audit she scored 91, and FAR 99 is a very remarkable score. And, she won the award also. So I'll tell you about the AICPA recognized the 2021, basically the exam performer with the Elijah Watts Sales Award. Now, what is that award actually? It is award actually. If you see, the AICPA has announced 57 winners of the 2021 Elijah Watts Sales Award. In order to qualify the CPA candidate, the candidate must obtain a cumulative average score above 95.5 across all four sections of the uniform CPA exam, and that is on their first attempt. So it's not that second attempt won't qualify, and the average should be 95.5 across all four scores. So Nikita has scored 90 above 95.5. How much you got, Nikita? 96.75, I believe.
Yeah, 95.75.
95.75 score you CS score actually. And Nikita, so we have invited Nikita so that she can share her experience, how she got the the brilliant score. And she would also share the what are the challenges she has faced, at the same time how she has overcome the challenges, and she has managed to score more than 95.5 percentile, right? So over to
Yeah.
Nikita, please take it forward.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So, as Harish mentioned, I recently completed my CPA in January, and I'm here to share some tips and tricks with you so that you can also, pass your CPA exams in first attempt. So, the first thing that I want to discuss about is the series in which I took the exams. So my strategy was that to tackle the exam in which you need the most preparation time. So for me, it was financial accounting and regulations. So because in FAR, I took around 7-8 months to prepare because I was also working full time. So I didn't want that time, preparation time, to be counted in my 18-month window. So my strategy was to tackle the biggest exam first. So when I cleared my first exam, that was FAR. So in that 18-month window that started when I first cleared my exam. So within that 18-month window, I just needed to clear like two smaller exams, which were audit and BEC, and one fairly big exam, which is regulation. So in case even if I didn't pass on my first try, I would have some buffer time because I had already passed the biggest exam first. So that was my strategy. The next thing I wanted to discuss was my study strategy. So I took one exam at a time and I focused on one subject at a time. What I used to do was I used to go chapter by chapter, read them, make my handwritten notes because it helps me retain better if I was writing it myself. Then I would do the MCQs chapter by chapter, and along the way, I would also mark the MCQs which I got incorrect or which were more complex that I wanted to come back and see them again. So I would mark in my first go only. One thing I did differently here was that when I was first going through the syllabus, I didn't do the simulations at that point of time because I noticed that in simulations usually they consist of topics from different chapters also, which I hadn't gone through. So I didn't do the simulations the first time I was reading the syllabus. So when I came back to the syllabus the second time, that's the time when I would do my marked questions, which I had marked previously in my first go, and I would do the simulations at this point of time because I had already gone through all of the syllabus once. So even though simulations have concepts from different chapters, I was able to relate to them. So that was basically my study strategy. Some things that helped me study was to make goals. So I already know like when my exam date is. So I would move backwards and see that okay, this is the date I want to complete my syllabus. This is the date that I want to finish my first revision, like that. Okay, so I would break my whole time into smaller segments. So making some long-term goals, and along with that before every day I started studying, I would also make some short term goals. Like before studying, I would actually set a goal. Okay, this is what I want to achieve by the end of today. So making that plans, and it helps you keep in track of what you're actually studying and what your plan was. It helps you keep in track in terms of your timelines and your syllabus so that you can adjust your schedule accordingly. Another thing was that you have to be consistent and regular in your studies. It's not like that you read completely for 2 3 days and then don't study at all for the next 2 3 days. That breaks, that actually doesn't help you retain the syllabus. So my strategy was that even though if I'm studying less on some days, but I'm still studying, I'm being consistent and I'm being regular in my studies. And also don't forget to take some breaks. Studying for longer period of time, it can burn you out. So I always made sure that I'm taking smaller breaks in between, and I would reward myself. Like I would watch some episodes of my favorite show when I'm able to achieve the set target in a particular day. So that's how studying and your breaks can go hand in hand regularly. Next thing that helped me was to take mocks before the actual exams. Because when you're taking your mock exams, you actually see that how you're doing in terms of your time, because it's a 4-hour exam. So you need to manage your time also. So one thing that helped me was that I planned beforehand only that how much time that I want to give on my test list. Uh, Personally, I found simulations harder than the MCQs on actual exams also, and while studying also. So I would like plan around 1.5 hours for my MCQ test lists and rest 2.5 hours on my task-based simulations. And this is something that you can try to implement when you're giving your mock exams. See if you are being on your timelines, that what you had planned. Like I've planned 1.5 hours for MCQs. Am I taking that much time, or am I taking less time than that? So that would help you keep your time on track on your actual exam too. Another thing is that you really need to focus on practical applications of the concepts that you're reading, because task-based simulations in the exams, they are very much realistic and very much practical. So you just cannot read the theory. You actually need to understand it, understand how the concepts are practically applied. And even if you are not able to understand something, I would go to the official websites like FASB or IRS to understand if I'm having a confusion anywhere, because that would give me the clarification on the practical aspects of the topics as well. So this was the overall study strategies that I implemented. Apart from that, on the day before exam, just don't keep it too hectic. Okay, you need to relax a bit and have a good night's sleep, and because you need to keep yourself calm, because no matter how much you're prepared, you're obviously gonna get anxious on the exam day. So you don't have to keep the day before the exam very hectic. And like I said, you have to plan your time in the exam, because that would help you keep on track in your exam. Otherwise, you'll run out of time when you're completing your section. And on the exam day, I would suggest that reach your center a bit early to help you, calm down your nerves, and try to stick on your the planned time that you have set for each section. And in case there will be some questions, no matter how much you're prepared, that you don't know the answers to on your actual exam. So don't just focus on that at that point of time. There's an option in the exam to mark your questions so that you can revisit. So, for example, you're doing the first testlet and you incur like five questions which you're not sure of and you find it difficult. So, you just mark it and move on to the next questions. In that way, just complete your whole testlet and then come back to those 5 mark questions if the time allows. Because you already know that, okay, I needed to have like 40 minutes on first testlet and I've already spent like 1 hour. I don't have the time to see the questions. So it depends upon how much time is left. Then you can, focus on those mark questions which you don't know. Otherwise, you move on to the next testlet. So that was pretty much it in my study strategies. If you have any specific questions, you can go ahead and ask me.
Yeah, Nikita, before I unmute everyone, a couple of things.
Sure.
I just want to ask a question on behalf of the students. So, Nikita, can you tell me your background actually before you did your CPA, educational background? So,
Okay. So I completed my Bachelor of Commerce from University of Delhi. Then I started my professional journey with Ernst and Young, and along with working full time, I completed my Masters of Commerce from IGNOU University through distance learning program. And once I had completed my Masters of Commerce, I started preparing for CPA along with working full time with
okay.
EY.
Good actually. So Nikita, first paper you completed and you scored 99 basically, right? So that's a really remarkable score. It's a 99 percentile. So what you thought about the CPA exams? Like, you thought about before you wrote the exam, what was your feeling, and after you got the marks, how what exactly your perception about CPA?
So it is I think CPA, it is a difficult exam, but if you're prepared, I think there's nothing to worry about. So it's basically if you are studying regularly, and if you're focusing on the concepts, not just cramming the stuff, and if you're actually understanding what the subject is trying to say, then I guess it's pretty easy to pass the exams. So although if after every exam you will feel that you did blunders on the exam, but that's the marks that shows that okay, we did okay, we have passed the exam. So it's a pretty natural feeling to feel down after your exam, but it's the marks that tell you that okay, you did quite all right, so you're good to go.
And Nikita, actually, when did you complete your entire syllabus before the exam? So have you did any revisions like one time, two time, or just to understand that when one should complete your entire syllabus before the exam?
So usually, like 1.5 months before the exam, my syllabus would be completed, and my revisions would be multifold because I would actually refer my notes, and just reading through your notes, it takes quite less time. So I was able to revise like 2 3 times before the actual exam. And in between I would also take some random tests, and so that it's not like that I'm focusing on one chapter much. So that random tests also help me actually know whether if every syllabus everything comes at once, whether I'm able to retain the information or not.
Okay, thank you very much. So let me open now, and let me just give me 1 minute.